Honesty is far more than the act of telling the truth. It is the art of being the truth. It is a way of living where one refuses to divide the inner world from the outer. To be honest is to let your words, your thoughts, and your actions flow from the same source without distortion. The honest man does not tailor his truth to please others or to fit neatly within society's expectations. He simply allows himself to exist as he is, unfiltered and unembellished. This kind of honesty demands courage, for it exposes one's heart to a world that often rewards pretense and punishes sincerity. Most people wear masks because masks are safe. They protect us from judgment, rejection, and misunderstanding. The world feels smoother when we say what others want to hear. But the honest man cannot do this. He cannot pretend to agree when he disagrees, nor can he silence himself when something within him demands expression. His honesty is not a performance, but a condition of being. It flows naturally, even when it brings discomfort. And because of that, he carries a heavy weight, the weight of constant transparency in a world that values illusion. To live honestly is to walk without armor. It means feeling deeply, speaking truthfully, and refusing to betray the self for the sake of belonging. The honest man knows that pretending brings temporary peace, but long-term emptiness. So he chooses authenticity even when it costs him acceptance. In this way, honesty becomes both his burden and his liberation. He feels the sting of exposure, the chill of solitude, but also the warmth of integrity. Such a man may be misunderstood, even ridiculed, for his unwillingness to play the social games that others take comfort in. Yet within him there is a quiet strength, born from the knowledge that he has nothing to hide. His truth may make life heavier, but it also makes it real. And there is a rare kind of peace in carrying that truth without shame. The world has always had a complicated relationship with truth. People claim to admire honesty, yet they often recoil when faced with it. Society builds itself upon layers of convenience, polite lies, partial truths, and carefully crafted appearances. These illusions keep life comfortable and predictable. When someone comes along who dares to speak openly, to strip away those comforting veils, the world reacts with discomfort, even hostility. The honest man becomes a disturbance, a reminder of what others avoid seeing. His clarity challenges the structures that protect people from their own insecurities, and that is why his burden grows heavier with every truth he speaks. Most people would rather maintain harmony than face reality. They will call a liar charming if his falsehoods soothe them, and they will call an honest man arrogant if his words unsettle them. The truth has a sharp edge. It cuts through illusion, and in doing so, it exposes not only the world's falsehoods, but the falsehoods within each individual. People resist that exposure. They cling to their comforting stories because letting them go means confronting emptiness, fear, or guilt. And so, instead of thanking the honest man, they reject him. He becomes the mirror that no one wants to look into. His honesty, though pure in intent, is received as provocation. When he points to the illusion, people accuse him of cynicism. When he refuses to flatter, they label him unkind. Thus, truth becomes a lonely path. It is not that the honest man wishes to hurt others. He simply cannot bear to live within a lie. But by revealing truth, he threatens the fragile equilibrium upon which most people depend. This rejection is the silent punishment of truth. It isolates the one who speaks sincerely and rewards those who disguise themselves skillfully. Yet the honest man endures, not out of defiance, but out of necessity. He understands that while falsehood may win favor, it costs the soul its peace. And so, even under the weight of misunderstanding, he continues to speak, for silence would betray the very essence of who he is. To see reality clearly is both a blessing and a curse. The honest man, in his refusal to live behind illusions, begins to notice the world without its filters, the masks people wear, the games they play, and the quiet pretenses that hold society together. He cannot turn away from what he sees. And that very clarity, which others might envy, becomes the source of his pain. For to see deeply is to feel deeply. To perceive the truth of human behavior, the impermanence of things, and the contradictions of life, is to live without the protection of ignorance. Most people survive by softening the edges of truth. They convince themselves that things are better than they are, that people mean what they say, and that the world is fairer than it truly is. These illusions keep the heart at ease. But the honest man's mind does not permit such luxury. He cannot pretend that deceit is harmless or that injustice is rare. His eyes remain open when others choose to sleep. And because of that, he often walks alone. There is a loneliness that comes from seeing too clearly. When one refuses to participate in the comfortable lies that sustained social harmony, one finds fewer companions on the path. The honest man's company is often solitude, for few can bear the weight of unfiltered truth. Yet, he does not choose isolation out of pride. It is simply the natural consequence of awareness. To live truthfully is to live apart from the crowd, not in arrogance, but in understanding. Still, in his solitude, there is also serenity. For even though he carries the pain of seeing things as they are, he also possesses the rare freedom of not being deceived. His heart may ache, but it does not wander in confusion. The honest man's solitude is not emptiness, but clarity, the quiet space where truth can breathe, unchallenged by illusion. He learns that seeing reality clearly may cost him comfort, but it grants him wisdom that no comforting lie can ever offer. Honesty is both a wound and a healing. It hurts because it exposes everything that is false, but it liberates because it frees one from the prison of pretending. The honest man walks through life with a heart that may often ache, yet it is a heart that does not deceive itself. He understands that truth can sting, that it can destroy illusions. He once found beautiful, but he also knows that the pain of truth is cleaner than the comfort of deceit. When one chooses honesty, one accepts the cost. The misunderstandings, the distance from others, the quiet sense of standing apart. But in that same choice lies an invisible freedom that no amount of conformity can replace. To live dishonestly may appear easier, but it carries a silent heaviness. Lies require maintenance, and pretending requires constant effort. One must always remember what was said, whom it was said to, and how to keep the illusion alive. But the honest man is spared from this exhausting game. He may suffer for his truth, but his suffering is brief and real, not stretched out through endless self-deception. His pain cleanses him. It does not corrupt him. There is a peculiar peace that honesty brings, even in sorrow. When a person is truthful, he no longer fears being exposed, because there is nothing left to hide. That peace is a kind of strength, a quiet, unwavering stability that falsehood can never imitate. The honest man may lose comfort, but he gains integrity. He may lose the approval of others, but he finds peace with himself. His honesty also becomes a silent form of love, not the gentle, pleasing kind, but the love that respects truth more than comfort. Through it, he honors the reality of things, even when it hurts. In doing so, he finds a deeper form of freedom, the freedom of being whole, untouched by the corrosion of lies. And though honesty wounds, Its pain carries the seed of liberation, allowing the honest man to live in a world of truth, rather than in the shadows of illusion. The burden of honesty, though heavy, becomes the very path through which a person gains strength of spirit. Carrying truth is not easy. It presses upon the heart like a weight that never lessens. Yet it also shapes the soul, carving depth where there was once only surface. The honest man learns, through his trials, that truth is a fire. It burns, but it also refines. Every moment of rejection, every misunderstanding, every lonely step becomes part of a quiet transformation. His suffering is not wasted. It becomes the forge in which authenticity hardens into wisdom. In a world where most choose comfort over courage, honesty becomes a rare discipline. It requires the bravery to be disliked, the patience to be misunderstood, and the endurance to continue standing when others would bow to convenience. But through this struggle, something unbreakable forms within him. The honest man becomes anchored, his strength no longer dependent on approval or applause. He finds stability in his own truth, a calm that cannot be shaken by the shifting moods of others. This spiritual strength does not make him superior, it makes him sincere. It allows him to meet life directly, without flinching from its harshness or hiding from its beauty. He learns compassion, not the shallow sympathy that avoids discomfort, but a deeper understanding born from pain. Because he has suffered the weight of truth himself, he recognizes it in others and honors their struggles without judgment. Over time, his honesty becomes a light, subtle yet steady. It does not demand to be seen, but it quietly reveals the path for those who are ready to live more authentically. His burden turns into his gift, a living example that freedom is not the absence of struggle, but the acceptance of truth in all its forms. Though he may walk a difficult road, the honest man discovers that his burden is also his blessing, for it leads him to the rarest strength of all, the strength to be himself entirely and without fear.